Hey guys, just finished watching The Flash, Season 4, Episode 4, Elongated Journey into the Night. This episode was pretty cool. I mean, it's an episode directed by Tom Cavanagh, which is interesting. He's directed a lot of these episodes, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's directed a bunch of these episodes, even maybe all of these episodes so far of Season 3, It's pretty interesting seeing him that, even though he's not in it that much. I guess that's why he's not in it that much, so that he can direct. It's a lot easier to direct when you're behind the camera rather than in front of the camera all the time. So, and it's a pretty interesting episode. It was really cool seeing the introduction to Elongated Man and seeing how that's going to go out throughout the season. It looks really interesting. I like how he's in next week's episode. Based on the trailer, he's in the episode. He's part of it. It's going to be fun to see him throughout the season and stuff, and have him part of the team, which is I like the way they set that up. Instead of just setting up another superhero and then not seeing him for a ton of episodes and then seeing him again. I like if they're going to set up someone who is known from the comic books and who's a superhero from the comic books, a member of the Justice League and stuff, then you have to have him throughout the series, so have him and not just have him once and then that's it, and then very few often. You have to have him throughout the season and stuff. So it's going to be fun to have him there. Really is interesting having this guy there. All the different things is pretty cool. I love the way they do his powers. His powers are pretty interesting. I mean, it obviously looks CGI, but I think for what it is, I think it works on the show. I mean, it can look wonky and stuff, and I think it does work, but it does look believable, and it's quite interesting things that they could do with it. And it was pretty cool seeing Danny Trejo here as Breacher and stuff, and then him making the thinking that that Ralph didn't mean Elongated Man is actually Plastic Man. That was pretty cool, because it would be cool to see once we have play around with Elongated Man. It would be cool to see if we ever get Plastic Man on one of these shows, maybe over on Supergirl or something. But I'd love to see Plastic Man, I guess, on the Flash, so that Elongated Man and Plastic Man could eventually team up or something like that. That would be cool. That would be an interesting thing for a season of Legends. Is if for one season of Legend we eventually send Ralph Dibny, Elongated Man, over to Legends, and he can be a Legends for a season. That would be it would be a fun. And then also eventually after that introduce Plastic Man, and then have Plastic Man join the Legends. I think those could be an interesting idea. I mean, it's two characters the same but very different. I think it'd be really fun to see the two of those interact. So it definitely is interesting to see what they're doing with Elongated Man. I would love to definitely, like I said, see him go over to Legend of Tomorrow full time. That would be cool. Maybe for season 6 or maybe next season or something like that. Maybe by the end of the season, he decides to go over to the Legends, or he meets up during the crossover and he decides to go hang out with them for the crossover. That would be awesome. And as long as you don't get rid of him, even if he's on one of these shows, he goes over here and there and stuff. I think it'd be really fun to see him do different stuff and hang out with different characters and see combining his powers with different ones. Like, it was cool with the Flash how he was able to grab the helicopter and the Flash was able to run up his arm and stuff like that. That was a cool idea. It would be fun to see different versions of things like that. If he went over to Arrow and stuff, who would be fun to see an episode. Although on Arrow, I think I'd only want him to be on for like 1 or 2 episodes or something. Not really be a permanent character over there, just because he's just a bit lighthearted for the serious tone of Arrow and stuff. But it would be fun to see him, taking his fingers, using them as slingshots just to slingshot arrows right out of his hands and stuff, without a bow and arrow. That would be quite funny. The different things he could do with his body would be quite interesting to see that. And I think it would be also fun to see, like I said, different characters and different interactions. How would his powers be used to help time travel over on Legend of Tomorrow? Him interacting with Adam, with the Atom and stuff like that. And the shrinking and all that. He could use that. He could shrink himself to use himself to slingshot. Brandon Routh, Ray Palmer as the Atom and stuff. That could be an interesting thing like that. And then seeing the different versions of his powers and stuff. So it is quite a cool episode. This episode, it was fun. It kind of feels like it's every episode kind of in this season so far has felt like a filler episode, but yet they all kind of very little connect. Like, now Barry realizes who he has to fight. That he has to fight that guy there and stuff. So it really is interesting to see that things are slowly moving on. Barry now knows that Joe is going to be a father again and stuff. Cecile's pregnant and stuff. That's going to be interesting to see if because it looks like Caitlyn knows, but does Iris know? Oh no, it looks like I guess Iris does know from that montage. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out throughout the series and stuff. I wonder if it's because the actress is actually pregnant, or if they wanted to put this in, because sometimes the actress just says, "Oh, I'm going to be pregnant," and then all of a sudden they're writing into the show so that they don't have to hide it and things like that. And I think that's going to be interesting to see if that is the case. To see how that works and stuff. I mean, they also did that over on Gotham, but then they just had her lose the baby within the show, so they wrote the baby out of the show. So it would be interesting to see how this goes. Maybe I'm gonna look us up and see the actress up. What's her name here? It doesn't show her name, but it would be fun to see where things go with this. I definitely can't wait to see how much we get of Ralph Didn't throughout the rest of the season. Definitely can't wait to see his how he talks about him and stuff, and with having Felicity over in next week's episode for the bachelorette party, it's gonna be fun to see her reaction to Elongated Man, and then when she goes back over to Arrow, seeing her talk to Oliver and telling everyone about this guy. Would be really interesting. Maybe she's showing him. It would be fun to see next week's episode. She's taking him under pictures of the bachelorette party, and then Oliver gets the photos in next week's episode of Arrow. So let's say if this week's episode or next week's episode of Arrow, Felicity's not a part of it because she's over in Central City. It would be fun to see her see Oliver get drunk texts from him. From her, or see Diggle or someone of the Arrow team get drunk texts. It would be fun if they all got drunk texts from there, and then and they all start going, "What's up? What's Felicity doing?" And it's like, "Oh, she's drunk texting us and stuff." And it would be funny to see that because they could just send photos from her phone and you just watch it over the phone. I think it'd be really fun to keep her part, but not relevant and stuff within the episode, and telling you that there's a crossover, that if you're only watching the Arrow, go watch this episode of Flash because she's in it, type thing. So I think that would be a cool thing to see that and see how things go in next week's episode. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. What do you think about Elongated Man? And hopefully we get his costume very soon. So let me know what you think, guys, about this in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.